Emilia has a button that can end a fight in one cast, but using it against Frieren might be the fastest way to lose. Why? Because Frieren's real edge isn't raw flash. It's centuries of spell knowledge, ruthless analysis, and the right tool for the moment. Emilia brings a storm. Frieren's seen storms for hundreds of years and knows which spells cut through the clouds. So what happens when overwhelming force runs straight into a mage who can always pull a new page from the book? And what if Frieren never gives Emilia the space to breathe, let alone cast? We're weighing Emilia's area control and healing against Frieren's versatility and experience. Stakes on the board: battlefield control, fatigue, and the gamble of holding back your win condition too long. Which philosophy sets the pace? Let's open the dossiers. Profiles, pressure points, and one closed loop. That's the lens. Start with Frieren. Her edge is time turned into mastery. She's a living archive, centuries of spells learned, refined, and recalled on demand. Not just power, proven judgment from a mage who helped Himmel, Hyder, and Eisen bring down the Demon King, then spent the years after dissecting what battles really cost. Reputation: Demon Slayer. Approach: keep options open, pick the cleanest line, and let experience cash the check. Now Emilia. Ice brand arts, Huma barriers, stacked like panes of safety glass, ice soldiers that regenerate and body block, and spirit healing via her contracts. She's a half-elf who's eaten bias and kept moving. That stigma hardens resolve. Leadership scales her decisions because people and spirits trust her calls, and her stakes are concrete. As a royal selection candidate, she fights to become the 42nd monarch of Lugunica and unfreeze the residents of Elior Forest. She locks the field. Healers don't just heal. In her hands, they reset fights. Emilia's space control is nasty. Soldiers force angles you don't want and convert clean lines into bad trades. Barriers layer, redirect, and make you pay a toll for every step. She pushes you to move, then punishes the route you take. Frieren loves the opposite rhythm. She breaks patterns, shifts ranges, and plays long where stamina and recall grind opponents down. Whose pace rules? The one who makes the map expensive. If Emilia pays heavy mana to keep every lane frozen, Frieren wins the receipt war over time. Frieren's road here starts after glory. Demon King gone, she learns what time steals: faces, feelings, small moments. Her quest becomes connection, but the craft never dulls. Spells are her diary entries, each one a memory, not a flex. That's why she's calm mid-cast. She's done the homework 1,000 times and keeps a niche answer for almost any shape of problem. Emilia's road is pressure, half-elf stigma, pieces of her past sealed away, a promise to help anyone within reach. She grows into leadership because no one else can carry that hope. Spirits answer resolve, not arrogance. When she calls, they show. That's unmatched resolve, and it turns support tools into the ultimate expression of power. Here's the weakness map. Frieren can underrate now power spikes. When a foe stacks a sudden buffed art, that first burst can crack a stable plan. Her breadth is so wide that she can default to familiar lines, and a determined opponent can target those patterns. Emilia, meanwhile, can burn mana fast when she tries to hold a giant field. Absolute zero East reserves, and even her layered shields tax the pool over time. Frieren exploits time and option density. Emilia exploits distance and denial. That's our closed loop. Experience sets patterns. Patterns get punished by unconventional routes, spirit-assisted pivots, off-tempo barrier drops, soldier rotations that flip angles. Ice meets archive, and the next layer is simple. How do they turn these profiles into win conditions without opening a window for the other to press a trump card? Win conditions and trump cards sit on a hair trigger here. The question isn't who hits harder, it's who sets the terms that let the finisher land without giving one back. So how does Emilia stop Frieren's long-range spell volume without draining herself dry? She doesn't chase the beams, she makes them pay rent. Frieren wants attrition, varied elements from a deep spell list, tight angles, and centuries of combat sense that keep her patterns hard to read. That's her win path. Grind the meter with versatility and force Emilia to spend premium mana on basic answers. Emilia flips that with barrier layering and soldier rotations. She plants a wall, lets soldiers body block and reform, then hands the healing off to spirits. so her own pool stays ready for spikes. Ice constructs force the wrong answer at the wrong time. Beam, she sends a density barrier. Scattershot, she uses a flexible dome that bleeds force sideways. It's spell volume versus battlefield lockdown, precision versus pressure. And right here, Emilia isn't trying to match shots. She's turning the map into a toll road. The tension sits on timing. Frieren's rid on combat flow baits overcommits. Emilia's soldier screens erase clean lines and turn snipes into trades. Frieren pivots across elements to target weak points in formation. Emilia switches to hard angles and forces Frieren to reposition. Every second, one of them is choosing tempo, and tempo decides cost. Research-wise, the mobility edge matters. Emilia's ice wings lets her pivot around her own barriers and re-angle a threat, like absolute zero, without wasting the cast. She glides, she snaps the barrier into a hinge, and the line of effect adjusts mid-flight. Frieren's breath fills gaps, fire when she needs heat, ice when she needs halt, light for fast shots, and more. She pulls niche answers on command because she's banking centuries of edge cases. Both have a giant red button. Frieren's trump is recall under pressure. She reaches into an absurd repertoire and retrieves the right spell for the exact geometry in front of her. Emilia's is absolute zero, the reset button that wipes positions clean at a brutal cost, freezing the atmosphere into a vacuum where even time stalls. Who wins? The freezer or the spell book with endless options? One stops motion, the other stops choices. Build the plan. Emilia plays for windows. Soldiers stall and buy frames. Spirits refill what she spent to keep the barriers healthy. She scopes for a pocket where absolute zero will conceal without cooking her reserves. And she prefers captures, not kills, which nudges her toward control first sequences that can extend fights. Now, Frieren denies windows. She interrupts cast timings by quarter beats, cuts off the support chain that feeds the barrier, and forces Emilia to microcast instead of channeling a big art. Now the range question closes. Emilia handles Frieren's reach by turning long lanes into dead zones with stacked barriers and living screens, converting precision strikes into healable trades. Stakes spike off that answer. If Frieren tags a support link, the instant Emilia pivots a barrier, the path opens and attrition takes over. If Emilia stabilizes and shapes one safe pocket, the trump card gets a trigger. We're at the threshold of the ordeal. The exchange, where counters tell the story, and one clean read decides who blinks first. So we shift into the ordeal proper, a battle toll encounters, where each cast tests whether control or breath calls the next beat. Can Frieren crack the ice phalanx before Emilia finds a clean trigger for absolute zero? We open with silence. Frieren leans on breadth, steady, varied firepower that comes in clean lines and tight angles, switching elements and speeds to probe for gaps. Emilia responds fast. Soldiers slide into a wall, shields curve to bend the flight paths, and the lanes warp. Shots decurve, threats glance. Frieren notes the bend and keeps walking. She swaps to pattern breakers, thin beams that stagger in odd cadence, tether-like spells that extend, faint slack, then snap back. Emilia splits her troops into Regan cycles, frontline tanks, backline reforms, and the barrier edge acts like a hinge. Every second bought is a frame she can bank for a bigger arc. Frieren doesn't bite. She paces, cycles through options, and shaves the clock. Mid-fight, Frieren tests the support chain, not with gadgets, by targeting the obvious link where healing and formation meet. She angles shots to force the soldiers apart and aims follow-ups at the moments when spirits would need to cover gaps. Emilia feels the drag and offloads to secondary spirits, then kites with ice wings, skating around her own curvature like she's running track on a glass stadium. The heal resumes, the wall breathes again. Tempo resets by inches, escalation hits. Frieren pushes a direct fire sequence, heat and blast in a compact rhythm to stress the ice line and punish the curve. As spiderweb crawls across the barrier, Emilia flash freezes vapor into a new layer, fog snapped hard into a shell, buying just enough casting frames to keep the phalanx intact. The crack sits there like a dare. Close call one. Emilia whines, absolute zero. You can feel the vacuum form, air pulls wrong, sound narrows, spirits brace. Frieren read the swell and staggers a misdirect. A harmless flare touches the outer shell, forcing Emilia to cancel early to avoid freezing her own field. The reset costs her, but it doesn't break her stance. She grits and glides. Frieren lines her own finisher. Trajectory clean. Emilia feints collapse, lets the soldiers lunge as if they're desperate, then knifes the distance on ice slides while Spirit Heal patches the baited gap. Frieren's shot scrapes armor instead of heart. The map feels smaller. Options feel pricier. Here's the insight you asked for. Area control seesaws. Frieren wins wherever she can create open lanes. Emilia wins wherever terrain corrals angles into her hinge. And Emilia's ethic matters. She prefers captures, not kills, which nudges her toward control-first sequences that extend windows but delay lethal commitment. That's why both trump cards stall. Which one lands first? Neither. Both get stuffed by perfect counters. The fight compresses to timing and nerve, with every cast now a bid for a single, uncontested beat. And now the field changes character. Frieren's pressure has boxed Emilia into a pocket, mana thin, barriers showing fractures like stress marks on tempered glass. From the outside, that's checkmate. But Emilia's zone isn't a prison, it's a mirror. The walls reflect lanes back at the caster and shrink Frieren's approach vectors to her own pattern, which means the next move looks free for Frieren. It also means she may be walking into the exact setup that turns a small opening into the deciding play. Final verdict time. Frieren wins the map and loses the moment. Emilia baits the anti-summon burst, seals a pocket with her barriers, then fires a micro absolute zero. Not the full field, just the air hugging Frieren's next cast. The spell chokes mid-gesture. Lanes vanish, momentum flips. That's battlefield IQ meeting sheer force of will, backed by documented raw power on Emilia's level, scaling near the original Roswell and flexible ice brand arts that let her shape the win condition. Both are monsters. Frieren's breadth and Demon Slayer pedigree are real. The winner is Emilia. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop your take and which trump card got slept on.